God, how do people make these? This is weird. I don't get it. I mean, how do you... Nope. Hello, I'm Grant. I work on a Royal Caribbean cruise ship, the Jewel of the Seas. I'm the entertainment media specialist, and I am basically the videographer guy that goes around and covers events, basically. Recently, I went on a few excursions and vlogged them, and I thought they were cool enough to put into a video, so that is what this is. Whoa. Whoa. No hands. Right now, the Jewel of the Seas is in Northern Europe. The last couple cruises have been in the British Isles, including Dover, England, which is where one of my excursions was. It was the vintage steam train and English tea. Now, me growing up, I was always obsessed with Thomas the Tank Engine, which also originates in England, if I'm not mistaken. And this was kind of like a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for me, because I've been obsessed with that show forever, and kind of to this day. So, the port in which this excursion happened in was Dover, but the station was in Tenterden, England. So I think that's a good distinction to make, because this is not in Dover. If you've ever been there, it's in Tenterden, which is a historic railway, and I got to see a few things. It was great. So yeah, the coaches were pretty old, but it was very nice. It was like traveling back in time or whatever. I got to sit with the other escort and 2 tour guides. There I am, just sitting in my seat and recording myself, because my camera has a phone option, I guess. And yeah, the countryside was amazing. I loved it, honestly. It was a little rainy, but you know, it's England, so what do you expect? That's kind of the norm, but it was delightful. The countryside is just unlike any other. It was like going into the island of Sodor. If you know what that is, it's a Thomas thing. And then at some point we found this kind of destroyed, run-down freight car. Looked like it had been scrapped or something. I don't know. It looked interesting. And yeah, I just kind of recorded myself trying to act like I wasn't recording myself, you know, trying to act cool. So I had no idea what train was pulling us. So when we finally got to the station, which was down the road, I believe, what was the station? Hold on. The station that we ended up in was Bodiam. My bad. Here's a picture. Bam! That's Bodiam. That's me at the train station from Tenterden to Bodiam. That was the route we took. Maybe if there's a map, boom, there you go. That's the route we took. For me, the thing that matters the most about this excursion was the actual train itself. You know, growing up with Thomas trains, you know, I'm going to be like, oh my gosh, am I on a James? Am I on a Gordon, a Thomas? Like, come on, I got to know. And I didn't know until the very end. So this is me finding out. I'm a little like, I want to go see, but I don't want to leave my tour group. And my other escort friend is like, just do it. So I was like, okay. So I walk over, you know, I'm enjoying myself, and I'm like, no way. There it is. Swiftsure. Anyway, it was a LMER train. It's cool. To me, that looks like Bill and Ben from the Thomas the Tank Engine series. I don't know if that's accurate, but anyway. I ended up taking a selfie with the train. Boom. There it is. It's gone. So anyway, then it was time for us to leave, unfortunately, and I was sad. But then I saw this weird carriage with 2 baby dolls in it. A little bizarre, but, you know, it's there in Bodiam. And we started to head back to the tour bus. And that's when my tour guide told me that, hey, we usually have enough time to watch the train depart. So I was like, no way. So I ended up seeing Swiftsure getting back to the front of their coaches because they went the other direction. So they basically had to do a turnaround. So that's what this is. This is Swiftsure turning around and getting buckled up to its coaches. It's a very just cool train to see. I mean, I'd never seen an actual steam engine like that ever. And it was like living on Sodor, you know, it was crazy. The island of Sodor It's where Thomas the Tank Engine takes place. It is a fictional island in the British Isles. For those of you who don't know, obviously I know. So that's what that means. Anyway, so I was thrilled to be there. It was awesome. And there was one of the station masters over there, and one of the drivers or firemen. I think that's the fireman over there. Everyone was so nice. It was so cool. And then that's when the tour guide called me to head back to the bus, so I went. But then one of our guests on the tour went to the tour guide and said, "Hey, I lost my umbrella." So we went back to the train to go look for her umbrella. And to me, being very distraught about not being able to see the rest of the train for a few more minutes, I was like, "Oh no, let's go." So that's what we did. She just went looking for the umbrella, and I was just like, "Okay, I'll go too." So that's what this is. I didn't get back on the train. I didn't want to confuse people, so I was just kind of standing out there. But unfortunately, she wasn't able to find the guest umbrella. But it is what it is, I guess. So yeah, we were like, "Oh well, it is. We gotta just move on." She left it probably in Tenterden, to be honest. And I was like, "Yeah, I'm enjoying my time." So yeah, we headed back to the bus. And then from the bus, I got to see Swiftsure pull the coaches back to what I assume, back to Tenterden. It was a really short line, but I don't think we went all the way down to the other side. So that was very interesting. Then meanwhile on the bus, it turned out the guest had the umbrella on the bus, so she left it there. So us going back to the train was completely pointless. But that's okay, because I got to see more of the train. So yeah. So that was June 22nd, and that was a fun excursion. Once a lifetime opportunity for me. I like trains. Anyway, on July 1st of 2024, the Jewel of the Seas was ported in Lerwick, Scotland. Here I am on my next shore excursion. I was in the back of the bus, just kind of recording the back. I don't know. I was like, cool. Fun fact about Lerwick is that it is also known as Shetland, Scotland. And fun fact about me, another thing that makes this whole situation about me, which is what most Americans do, they make everything about them, is that the dogs that I grew up with and my family grew up with, Shelties, are from Shetland, Scotland. And that's exactly where we were. And I was thrilled to be there. I was like, no way am I going to be able to see some Shelties? Like, this is the homeland of my dogs. So Shelties are known as Shetland sheepdogs. And Shetland is home to over 250,000 sheep. And the dogs I grew up with were named Sparky, Nixon, Stella, and Jax. Most recently, we got him last year. None of them have ever been to Shetland, and I think if they ever did go to Shetland or Lerwick, they would hate it. But anyway, their ancestors are theoretically from Shetland. So I'm going to go on this journey on their behalf, even though they have no idea what's going on and they will never care, ever. The first stop our bus took us to was this little beach area, kind of in between Bigton Wick and St. Ninian's Bay. We are located right there on the map. And currently I'm kind of just walking, trying to find a way down to the beach, because I wasn't even sure if we'd go down there, but you know, it's a beach in Shetland, why not check it out? So this is me trying desperately not to fall, and record at the same time. It's kind of cool. It's a shore. It was a little cold that day, and there's the water. Very enjoyable indeed. There I am. I was there. See, this footage was taken by me. So that was our first stop on the trip, and on the way, our tour guide Linda told us all about Shetland and the history and the people that live there and the architecture. It was cool. But the part 2 to this excursion was the ponies, and when we showed up, it was amazing. They kind of just hung out and just like stood there, and one of them had an itch on their head and just took the barbed wire and just started itching themselves, you know, as you do. This one was in desperate need of a haircut, but it was funny to see them really close up like this. And then they just started cleaning each other, which was fun to watch. And yeah, they all just kind of, just stood there. It was awesome. How do you be a pony? It's insane to just do nothing all day. Like, that could be me. And there's a sign, please do not feed the ponies. And at your own risk, that's a threat, just saying. And these two were very close, and I think they touch noses. So yeah, that was pretty cool. Once again, they just stand there. He still has the itch. I don't know what that was about. And then one of the guests was kind enough to give him a scratch on the head, and they're still scratching one another. Apparently these ponies were really itchy this day. And then here I am again on screen with the cameras, and boom, I got my selfie. Yeah. I'm awesome. And then the pony's owner explains that this one right here on the ground is about 6 weeks old, and her name is Taylor, named after Taylor Swift. So yeah, it was really cool seeing, I pet this pony on the head, and then another guest was kind enough to take video for me. Then we started heading back. But I had a question for my tour guide, and I wanted it answered. So I recorded it with her knowing. With her knowledge, she knew I was recording it. So I had a question, actually.
Oh, yeah.
Are there many Shetland sheepdog anymore on the island? Or not very much?
There is quite a few.
Yeah.
But they're very exclusive and they're very expensive.
Yeah.
There's not a single crofter who can get by without a dog. So all the crofters have one.
Yeah.
But they fetch prices between £3,000 and £5,000 nowadays.
Yeah, they're really expensive.
But do you mean the little ones? The little...
Oh, the Shelties?
Yeah.
They're very rare.
Yeah, that's
very
not...
rare.
Yeah. I used to breed them.
Really?
And they were just beautiful little dogs.
Yeah.
But yeah, they'll cost about £2,000.
Yeah, they're very
And a lot of them will come from not from Shetland, so I'm not quite so sure how exactly they are.
Yeah.
Shelties when they don't come from Shetland.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's
So it's more of a rarity.
it is, yeah. They're beautiful little dogs.
So, so it seems Shelties are not really a thing in Shetland anymore, at least. They're really expensive dogs, and I can totally see why. But when we headed back after the excursion, on the port, I did manage to see this Sheltie in the rain, getting rained on. He was with another dog, but he's technically a real Shetland sheepdog. So a Sheltie in Shetland, that's as much Sheltie as you're gonna get, I guess. But yeah, it was raining and it looked wet, so I didn't disturb it. But I did take a picture of it without its knowledge. But that's just how it is. So those were my 2 excursions: trains and ponies. Dover, England, and Lerwick, Shetland, Scotland. It was a lot of fun, and I would do it all over again. Ponies and trains, that's just what happens, Sometimes trains, sometimes ponies. I don't know what I'm saying. But yeah, thank you for watching. This was my first vlog on the Jewel of the Seas Royal Caribbean cruiser. Yeah, bye.